Welcome, everyone. Today is part two of the conversation on suicide prevention. Now, in part one, I was talking more about how to identify signs. So, I want to start this video by saying this. If you are unsure if a loved one is having thoughts of killing themselves, the best thing you're going to want to do is ask them. So and so, I noticed that you seemed a little different lately. Your mood has seemed even more sad, or you've just kind of been more chipper than normal. I just want to check in. Like, are you having any thoughts of hurting or killing yourself? Ask them, because if you can just ask them straight out, are you thinking about killing yourself? That in itself is going to show that you are not afraid to have that conversation. And it's also going to show that you are present. And some people will say, well, if I say that, I don't want to put that thought in their mind. If someone is not having thoughts of killing themselves, they will let you know. They will let you know. If someone is having thoughts of killing themselves, you asking that question can be a lifesaver. So I'm going to go ahead and take it a step farther. If you know that someone is having those thoughts of killing themselves or severely harming themselves, the worst thing that you can do for that person is tell them to stay silent or tell them to not say anything. I've worked with parents that have minors that have had thoughts of killing themselves, and they've told those minors not to say anything because the parent doesn't want to be looked at as a bad parent, or they don't want others to know what's happening, because what goes on in the home stays in the home. If you know, please encourage that minor to reach out and tell someone. Because when you say, no, just don't say anything, what you're also telling that person is your problems it's too much for other people. When that happens, it often will foster thoughts questioning self-worth and or existence, meaning that person might not even think that they matter. When those thoughts happen, it can very well lead to a core belief or reinforcing a core belief, which is a core belief is a deeply held thought about ourselves, others, and or the world. So I'll take a step back. When it comes to a core belief or creating those things, thinking that other people won't care, thinking that that person doesn't matter, can lead to a core belief of I am worthless. Now, if a person that is already at that place believes that they are worthless, they're that step closer to go ahead and ending their lives, because what would it matter? If you know that someone is having these thoughts, please encourage them to say something. If you think that they're being dramatic, have them say something. I would much rather my client tell me that and we can address it than them not, and now they're gone. Another thing that I'm going to really encourage people to not do is give advice. If someone is actively telling you that they want to kill themselves or they've been self-harming and they think they're going to continue, giving advice is not going to be helpful. And oftentimes it comes from a place of love and wanting to do something and kind of feeling helpless in ourselves. So we give advice. However, what might be good for us might not be good for that person. Minimizing it. It's not that big a deal. You'll get over it. Well, what might not be a big deal to you might be everything to someone else. And when that is minimized or invalidated, going right back to earlier, it then kind of signals to that person, my problems don't matter, or they're too severe, or others don't want to understand. And that is not what is needed in that moment. Another thing that happens often is telling someone, well, it'll get better. You don't necessarily know what their circumstances are right now. And so telling someone, don't worry, it's going to get better, can be invalidating, although it may come from a place of love. So in part one, I know I said a concept with suicidality is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Having that framework in your mind will assist in sitting with someone and creating a safe space. However, that's not something that you want to say to that person. Very different. Because although it may be true, hearing it in that moment is not what that person needs. Now, once that person is safe, they're not intense, you know that they're going to be okay, a later conversation can be exploring that concept. But in the moment, it's not the time. Some things that can be done: exploring protective factors. What's important to that person? Do they have nieces and nephews that they adore? Do they have children? Are they going to school and they're excited about a class? Is there a potential field trip? Is there a video game or a new movie coming out? Is there a potential video chat that can happen because we are still in quarantine for the most part? Focus on those things. Use their interests and engage that person to get them really thinking about the reasons to live. Another helpful intervention is looking at what might be called the part of you technique. If someone is expressing thoughts of wanting to kill themselves, of no longer wanting to be in this world, what they are expressing to you is that part of themselves that doesn't want to live anymore. Now, at the same time, the fact that they're telling someone about it, to me, well, that tells me that there's at least a part of them, however big or small, there is a part of them that wants to live. So if someone is saying, I'm done, I can't live anymore, I'm going to kill myself, I might say to them, you know what, I definitely hear that part of you that's just done. However, I'm curious if we can explore that part of you that wants to live. That part of you that reached out to me today. Can we spend some time talking about that? Use that and to get them to identify those potential protective factors for themselves, not what's important to you. While all of this is happening, using de-escalation tactics, right? Think about distraction. What is that person like? For me, I tend to be a goofy person, so I will use humor. Now, I'm not going to use self-deprecatory humor, where I'm kind of crapping on myself and others. I'm going to be goofy, whatever that looks like for me. So I might dance, I might put on a song and start singing with them, I might engage in a drawing contest, whatever it is that's going to get them to focus on an activity and not on the emotional pain, long enough to get them to a point of safety. And at that point, making sure that they have what they need. So that's me as a provider. If you are a loved one with someone that is going through this, ask them what they need. I want to be here for you in this moment. What can I do to help you feel safe? Go from there. And at that point, get them some resources. If they're not in treatment, maybe, link them with the National Suicide Hotline. If they are in the LGBTQ community, the Trevor Project has a wonderful community that can be a support. NAMI can be a wonderful support. Whatever it is that is necessary in that moment. And above all, stay calm. Although in your mind there may be millions of thoughts happening, on the outside, do some deep breathing, do some imagery, whatever you need to do to stay calm so that you can be that steadfast person that that other person needs in that moment. And when they're safe, either encourage them to do their safety plan. Providers, go ahead and create a safety plan, and then you go and decompress. Self-care, however you need to. I hope you found this video to be helpful. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and send me a message, leave me a comment. Thank you so much. Please stay safe. And as always, peace and love.